Today on Keeba-Live, I'm going to be talking about the marijuana recreational drug market that has turned Colorado upside down. We'll be right back with more in just a moment. Here's Big John's Automotive Tip of the Week. The best way to get your fuel system a boost is to add Extreme CMT Fuel Boost and Conditioner. And now it's available at Big John's Oil, Lube, and Automotive, located at 1818 99th Street East in Tacoma. Or check us out on the web at BigJohn'sAutoRepair.com. $247 black market pot raids in Colorado targeted, are you ready for this, out-of-state sales of recreational harvested marijuana. Hi, I'm William Lee, your host, podcaster, podcast producer, and the founder of the Keeba Agency. This marijuana thing is absolutely, I feel, the biggest mess we've done yet since our governor opened up the territory for the state of Washington to become a silent, don't ask questions state. Wow, this has been interesting, hasn't it? Well, you know, since 2012, when Colorado announced that they were going to legalize recreational marijuana, that you could have 10 plants per household, and the actual sales that would come from the bigger, revenue sources, the commercial people, the wonderful taxes that would do so much. They would pay for schools. They would, put everybody in the government agencies in the black again. I mean, this was a harvest of crop taxation. Well, isn't this interesting? And of course, it wasn't going to affect our mental health or our health. I mean, nobody expected that to happen. But it has been showing up in different areas that marijuana has a very downside. One of the downsides Colorado did discover when 247 black market pot raids in Colorado targeted out-of-state sales. Now, isn't that interesting? Authorities on this Friday said they had raided a black market for marijuana operations in Colorado that absolutely flooded and flourished Colorado. It's just unbelievable. Thousands of plants were taken from Denver area homes that were selling this product out of state. Investigators seized more than 80,000 plants, folks. 80,000 plants, which adds up to approximately 4,500 pounds of harvested marijuana. Now, the state and federal prosecutors at the news conference, they initiated a raid after a 3-year investigation on these 247 homes and 8 businesses. 42 people in Denver and 7 in nearby communities were arrested and charged with this particular crime. Now, state law, like I mentioned to you before, gives you an opportunity to have so many plants for personal use, and you can grow and smoke them and be dumb in your own home. But some of these houses had over 1,000 plants in them. 1,000. Can you imagine that? U.S. Attorney was amazed at the count and how many plants they had seized. Now, Colorado is one of 9 states that has legalized the use of marijuana, even though it still remains illegal under federal law. And between the states and the federal officials, this has caused a lot of tension. Believe me, it's caused a lot of tension. But it was very interesting because the district attorney in Colorado made it very clear that it was a federal and state raid that closed up these pot farms that were selling out-of-state marijuana plant. Now, these plants were raised in homes that were found in the middle to high-income people. A lot of times you hear, well, it's always the poor, and they're raising the plants out in the garage because they can't financially make it without more income to the family. Well, this is completely out of line in this particular investigation because we're talking about businesses. We're talking about homes that now that have been seized, the district attorney has stated that he will do what the federal law states as far as seizure of the property material, funds, etc. They're going to clean house on these people. So make no mistake about it. This out-of-state sales effort has seriously been disrupted. I think the classic example of politics at its best is when they also made the statement that you can expect this to happen in your state if you legalize recreational marijuana as drugs. But don't let us talk you out of it, because the taxable income is well worth the, shall we say, small task of keeping it legal in the state and keeping sales in the state's tax coffers and not into illegal business operators. I don't know how anybody can sit down and logically put this whole scenario together. We've seen it in the state of Washington right now that the traffic deaths have continued. We've seen job possibilities flush down the toilet because employers will not allow somebody to go to work that can't pass a P test. Isn't that wonderful? Well, that, of course, I guess the governor in our states decided that, well, we don't need to worry about that because now we're a solvent state and we'll have tons of people coming in from different borders to take up jobs that unfortunately we can't have because we can't pass a P test. That just floors me. And on top of not passing that test, we put these people, some of them, on unemployment if they had a job to begin with, and we take others and put it on, shall we say, the backs of the taxpayers so that they can continue to have all the free gimmies that the liberal side of this wonderful nation wants to see happen. I will assure you beyond a shadow of a doubt, even with my limited education and my backwards thinking and my big mouth, I will assure you that in 1776, if we had thinkers that were working on this plane of how we were going to keep the economy growing, how we were going to put the country together, and how we were going to make freedom work, we would never be here today, folks. No, I don't even think Columbus would have stopped by if he found us in North America. I don't think that the American Indians would even buy into this project. This is totally ridiculous. But now we have this recreational drug. We have big taxation. We have a potential of more and more loss of jobs. We have a higher turnover in jobs. What good is this? A recreational drug. Now, people are going to come back to me and say, well, whiskey and beer, they're recreational, and I don't see you harping about those. Well, no, I'm not harping about those. You see, I think that this country was started actually with a bad crop to begin with. Stop and think about it. Our biggest money crop during the beginning of building this country was tobacco. Today, we know now that it's serious to our health. And, of course, for years, we have fought the problem with alcoholism. We know several millions of people that have passed away because of alcohol abuse or misuse of alcohol. So I've always been told, Bill, you know what you're doing is wrong because you're really not looking at both sides of the story. And maybe I'm not. But here's the side I am looking at. It's federally illegal. It's federally illegal to do what the state of Washington is doing on this marijuana sales as a recreational drug, period. Now, I'm not against the medicinal use for health, of the marijuana plant and the oils and some of the wonderful byproducts of marijuana that have been used in the medical industry to help people with cancer, to help other people with different types of diseases. And, of course, the state of Washington had it legalized back in, I believe it's somewhere in the 80s. But we threw it out, folks. You know why? Because the state couldn't raise enough taxes. It couldn't make enough money. So throw that out. Who cares about health? Who cares about what it could do as far as medicine is concerned? Let us jump into recreational drugs. We'll have everybody smoking a doobie on the weekends, paying big bucks because we have to have tons and tons of marijuana produced in the state. That's taxes for the growers, taxes for the retail sellers. This is wonderful for the state. Of course, we haven't seen where the money's going yet, and I'm sure that one of these fine days, one of the politicians will probably slip and let out the information of how much money was actually absorbed and how much went into the general fund that we use for the state of Washington to take care of different projects. You know, it's amazing how that cesspool of money just seems to grow and grow and grow, but it never seems to, shall we say, do much in this particular state as far as roads, education, because, ladies and gentlemen, business owners, property owners, and everybody that is involved with the tax structure, that seems to be where the money seems to be coming out of. We'll have to work on that one on future podcasts. But getting back to what we were talking about with Colorado is that I believe they're right. Make no mistake about this. Just make no mistake. You're going to have this problem. It's going to appear. It's going to affect more kids' lives. It is going to dummy up more individuals, and it's going to cause more expenses than it will make tax dollars. It's coming. Colorado has made big dollars, sure, but I'll bet you this investigation of 3 years wasn't on the House. I imagine there was a lot of expense incurred. Hopefully, with the property that they have under federal law, they are going to seize. They'll get some of their money back. Currently, they're looking at 41 homes, 25 vehicles, $2.2 million in cash connected with the marijuana operations. He said most of the homes in the Colorado area that were growing these plants are market value at about $400,000. These gross operations were not occurring in abandoned houses or poor parts of the metro area. These were happening in the middle to upper class neighborhoods where many of us live and raise families, and they were occurring all over the metro area. So don't use the attitude that the poor people of this nation are growing these plants, or in this particular case in Colorado, the underdeveloped individual. No, don't start on that. Undereducated. Don't start on that poverty-stricken routine. These were in people's homes that made good money, and greed and a fast buck and somebody's wonderful idea of, hey, Harry, you got a couple of them pot plants out in the garage. I can show you how to make a couple of $100,000 a month there if you want to crank her up a little. Those were the ones that were running this pot business. Those are the ones that have caused this trauma to Colorado. But it's a wonderful lesson for the rest of the states to wake up and realize that it could be happening right now in Washington. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed today's show. If you have any questions about it or would like to tell me that podcasting is really not what I should be doing for a living, drop me a line at my email address. Oh, wait, you don't know what it is. It's Keeba, Keeba agency at gmail.com. That's Keeba agency at gmail.com. And I read all the emails that come in, and I'll be more than happy to answer you back. If you are interested in doing a phone conversation with us, we will be doing that in June. We have our equipment all lined up, and we will set it up with a screener so that you can come on and talk to us on the air. Thank you so much for listening, and please do us a favor. Go to Facebook and like us on Keeba-Live Facebook page. You can also find us on keepasmiling.com. That's keepasmiling, Keeba smiling.com.